Rachel, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. We're still alive.
You know, I have to say, you are probably the hardest working jockey that I know, and I talk about you like all the time. Whenever we speak about hard work in racing, you are like the hardest jockey that I know, because I remember that you said that you're always in the gym. You know, you always, and when I was there, I remember I saw you on the Equicizer, I think.
Yeah.
When I was shooting, what was I shooting? I forgot what we were shooting, but I saw you there.
Yes, you were interviewing someone and I kept disturbing you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were on the Equicizer there.
Yeah, that was before I started racing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were talking to Nikki Roback.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, like, why do you work so hard, you know? I think I know why, but I want to hear it from you.
I want to be the best.
Yeah.
And you only get there by just grinding away until you get there. And you know, everyone always says to you, being a girl, you're naturally weaker, naturally not going to get the opportunities. And I've never forgotten Robbie Hill, but when I first got into the academy, it must have been the first 3 days riding work as an apprentice, not as a work rider. And he says to me, oh, you know, you can ride, but you know, as a girl, you are going to have to work twice as hard as any boy to do well. And I thought about that, and it stuck with me every day. I think about what he said, and the harder you work, the better you get.
Yeah.
So it's that.
Yeah. And do you have challenges? I mean, like, you know, obviously, you know, you're the only girl in the whole sport, like in the whole of horse racing in South Africa. Like, what challenges do you sometimes, you know, face? You know?
Yeah. So there's lots of challenges. The normal ones are my weight, and that every single day is a concern. And some mornings I'll wake up like, not panicking but worried, like when I get on the scale now, have I picked up weight, am I going to make weight today, that kind of stress.
Yeah.
And then of course, like from the girls' side, it can get quite lonely.
Yeah.
And because sort of at the academy, you know, the only girl.
Yeah.
And I've never minded, I always get on with boys, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But every now and again you sort of think, flop, it's just me on my own fighting all the time.
Yeah. So what do you do when you're lonely? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, I'm very like hands-on. I love sewing and doing art, so I always just keep myself busy so that I don't sort of think about it.
What else do you do when you're not racing? You said you like sewing and stuff like that, and art.
Yeah. So that's like the most unexpected
I remember once
thing.
you said you posted some stuff on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I do strange art pieces, to call it that.
Yeah.
Like I'm big into sort of investigating how death makes people feel and the afterlife and things like that. So lots of people look at my art and then they look at me and they're like, I don't think we want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. They get freaked out.
Yeah, because it is quite creepy. I mean, like the one I've done it's probably bigger than this table, of like a gargoyle type alien thing, and he's like life size with wings and horns, and people look at that and they're like, And it did get one of the highest marks in South Africa for my art.
Yeah.
For my trick, but it's still very weird.
Yeah. Which school did you go to?
Roseway Waldorf.
Okay.
So we're also known as the Harry Potter school.
Okay.
It's not that weird. It's a very good school, and once you get to know it, it's not likely that weird. But from the outside perspective, everyone's like, "Do you do witchcraft?" That's always the first question I get asked.
That's crazy. So you said that you like creating art about like afterlife and aliens and stuff like that. Do you believe in aliens?
Not really aliens. I focus more on this theme of like gargoyles.
Yeah, what are gargoyles?
So if you've ever looked at a church, you see they've got those like creepy animals on like the cornices and on the outskirts of the church. So it's basically like a religious thing that they scare away evil and keep the good inside. So they're actually like protectors of everyone. So it's sort of, they've always symbolized, actually, what's kind of weird, it takes it even further and makes people think about me even more, is that I used to have dreams about these gargoyles.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and they used to like chase me in my dreams, and I'd wake up sweating. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've got this thing that like when I stress, I have nightmares.
Yeah.
So like often I'll wake up sweating, having a nightmare if I'm stressed, and then I know that I've got to, in my normal day-to-day existence, sort of try and calm down whatever's stressing me.
Yeah.
So I had these dreams about these things, and then I did some research on the animal that I was seeing. They're like humanoid kind of beast things. And I googled it and it came up with these gargoyles. So for my matric theme, I investigated gargoyles. And it's actually quite fascinating how they protect you. They scare you, and they look evil.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're protecting the good in you and keeping away the evil.
Wow. Tell us how it all began for you. You used to be a show jumper, right?
Yeah, so I've ridden since I was tiny. My parents both show jumped, and naturally I started riding. And I show jumped. I really enjoyed it. However, I never really had much success with it. I never had the horsepower. So I had decent horses, but they were always, we never had the money to go and buy good, top horses. So I got scraps from other people that I had to fix up, and then I took them up the grades, and I jumped quite high.
Yeah.
And then I got some good horses, and then I was looking for another horse.
Yeah.
And I got offered one by a trainer. And I was at the yard looking at the horse, and he said, "Oh, why don't you start trying to ride some work?" So I was 14 at that time.
You were 14 at the time?
14, yeah. Proper, a tiny little thing. I didn't know what was going on, completely dumb to everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, "No, that sounds cool."
Yeah.
I mean, so we went and watched the horses in the morning, and I said to Mom, "Oh, that looks so cool." And the sound of them galloping gives you tingles.
Yeah, yeah.
And this tiny dream started going, because when I was very small, I always remembered sort of dreaming about coming to races with my parents, and you watch the horses when you're 5 or 6 and thinking, "Oh, I wish I could be a jockey." And then you think, never. So I said, "Okay, well, let's just try. I'll take one horse on the track." So I kind of got thrown in the deep end. There was no "Oh, we're going to teach you how to ride work." The trainer put me on the horse, put my irons up and said, "Go take it for a canter." So I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to stand in jockey seat.
Yeah.
Well, given the horse ran away with me.
Yeah.
And it was the hack.
Which trainer was this?
Craig Udy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started from there, and I was very weak. I couldn't hold horses.
So how did you manage to how did that go? That first ride?
I enjoyed it. It was cool.
Yeah.
But I was I don't know if I'm going to ever get stronger. But my parents said to me, you're young, you're weak, I'm sure it'll get better.
Yeah.
So
it was just a canter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a strong canter.
Wasn't the horse pulling?
Yeah, it was. And I remember my
And he just wanted to get...
Yeah. It was a Sunday morning. This horse wanted to get going. There was no one around.
Yeah.
But for me, holding a show jumper is nothing in comparison to a racehorse. So even your weaker racehorses still pull. My God, my arms.
Yeah.
And I had skinny little arms, and I was, oh my God, this is so sore. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And then I just started building it up every day.
And you obviously weren't scared, right?
No, because I knew horses.
Yeah.
And there were a few moments, as I started riding work more and more, where you fall off and the horse runs you over, and you sort of think, oh my God, I don't want to do that again. And then you look at it and you're like, no, I really do. So let me jump on, I'll do it again.
Yeah, so you've had falls in the past.
Oh, yeah. And flipping, I remember taking racehorses. I spelled one at my stables to help it back from an injury. The thing took off across the arena with me and sent me straight through the rails. I took down the whole fence. I still got weird little bumps on my leg. And I stood up, caught the horse, got back on. And it's just, falling has never worried me at all.
Was that, what's your craziest fall story?
Probably the worst was right before I won my first work riders race. 4 days before, I was galloping on the top grass with Gareth Wright at Summerfeld. So we're going along and we're galloping, and I look up, and by the clubhouse there, the grass track that runs under the clubhouse. Yeah. There's 2 horses that have stopped and are turning and coming back towards us. So I look at Gareth and I'm like, am I seeing things? They're coming towards us. They were just walking. No, with 2 other riders on.
Yeah.
But they'd missed where to pull up in the correct place.
Yeah.
And they'd stopped further on where you're not supposed to stop.
Yeah.
And my horse, as we were galloping, I didn't really have anywhere to go, and I sort of panicked a bit. And as we pulled to go around them, my horse saw one of the beacons and sidestepped, and I went flying. I landed. I don't even know what happened. I just remember lying on the grass and thinking, my God, my foot is so sore. Yeah. And then I was thinking about this work rider race, and I knew my horse had a big chance. So I was like, no, I'm fine.
That was before the race?
Yes, 3 days before. Yeah. So I was galloping for Wendy Whitehead, and she got quite a fright. She came driving over to come and get me because it was quite intense.
It was a crazy fall?
Yeah, we were going quite fast, and you hit the ground quite hard. So,
and the horse, was it okay?
Yeah, the horse was fine. Sure. He was a little bit shaken up, but he was alright.
Did he also land on the ground?
No. He the reason I fell was because he jumped one of the cones and went sideways, but he was 100% fine. Okay. I actually think he came out and won his race that we were preparing him for. So probably did him the world of good. So
lucky that there wasn't any other horses coming behind you, right?
Yeah, it was very lucky. And then I remember being in a lot of pain, but I still rode that work rider race, and thank God I did, because it was my first winner.
Your leg, how's that? How's your leg?
I struggled to do up the zip on my racing boots.
Yeah.
And it still hurts every now and again now. So my mom really wanted to take me for an x-ray, and I was like, over my dead body, because if they find something wrong, then I can't ride.
Yeah.
So that's okay, fine, put the bandage, it's all good.
Did you end up going for the x-ray after that?
Nope.
Still to this day?
Yeah. I avoid the doctor like the plague. I
Why?
hate going to the doctor. Because what if they tell me I can't ride? I just can't survive.
Jesus. So how do you keep like healthy? If you're not going to go to the doctor, you need to do something to make sure that you avoid, getting sick and going to the doctor.
Hope.
Hope and food like.
Yeah, so I
used to be a vegetarian.
Yeah, so I was a
Yes.
vegetarian for a good 3 years, and I loved it. I always felt so well.
Yeah.
But then it also just becomes a bit of a struggle. Like especially at the academy, it's not. You can't be super different from everyone else. You've got to eat what they eat.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, meat tastes quite nice.
Why were you a vegetarian though? What was the reason for that?
So I don't really know. Just one day I woke up and I was like, I don't really like meat anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel I wanted to try something because I was finding like I was getting quite tired. I mean, I was getting up at 3:30, riding work, going to school, doing a full day of school, going home, riding my show jumpers, and then going to gym in the evening. So that was probably why I was tired. But then I blamed it on the meat.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just found cutting it off made me feel so much better.
With me as well. Sometimes I don't eat meat for a week or 2 weeks or a month. I just go on like a vegan diet. You know what I mean? And I tried being vegan for a while as well. Again, I've got nothing against meat, but I did some researching and just stuff that I was reading and the videos that I was watching about the health benefits of a no meat diet. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really, really amazing. I was watching this other documentary as well where this lady had diabetes and the guy, one of the, I don't know, doctor or whatever I can call him, suggested that she goes on a vegan diet. And she gets better, from not walking, from not being able to walk, to being able to walk around the block and stuff like that, So it's crazy. It's crazy.
And I've always been a big believer in listening to your body.
Yeah.
And some days I wake up and I just want a piece of steak.
Yeah.
Or some days I wake up and all I want is vegetables.
Yeah.
And I've always believed, and sometimes you crave fish. It's almost like your body needs certain nutrients.
Yes. The body will tell you. Yeah. The body will tell you what it wants. Yeah.
A lot of researchers, fish is high in iron. So if you're craving fish, you're probably a little bit low in iron.
Yes.
So the only craving I don't listen to is the one for sugar. Because that's every day.
Yeah, and sugar increases your body fat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you eat a piece of cake, suddenly you look at the scale and you're like, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah. So how's your weight battle going?
So at the moment I'm succeeding.
Yeah.
Mostly through just cutting out everything and just staying focused, because in the long run, the more you can get your weight level now and keep it level, the easier your career will be and the longer. So I've spoken to Kevin Wright, and Mr. Roberts helped me a lot with just making sure that I'm always staying in check. So Mr. Roberts will hear if the academy weighs me and I was a bit heavy, and he'll come to me and say, what's wrong with you, man? Why are you eating? Well, I'm sorry. I had a nice weekend. I was suspended. I wanted to eat.
That was quite a good impression of Mr. Roberts. Is he mentoring you?
Yeah, so someone actually asked me the other day, kind of, how did you end up being in such a, I don't know what to call it, his jockey. And I rode work for him. Obviously my first winner in the Work Rounders race was for him.
Yeah.
And ever since then I've always just ridden work for him, and then he helped me getting into the academy. And he said, I'll help with a few rides. Gave me a few rides, and then I did really well. We do well together. We have lots of winners.
Yeah.
And he's so experienced with race riding. It's incredible. He'll always sit with me after a race and look through it and tell me exactly what I did wrong, what I did right, what to improve, what to look for. So he is kind of mentoring me in
That's really incredible, because he's one of the best jockeys, used to be one of the best jockeys in history in the world, and it's just incredible how talented he was. You know what I mean? And you I don't think you could ever get a better mentor than him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the other day, I posted on Facebook about, I forgot what I posted.
You said who was the best jockey that was around?
Yes,
in that era.
Yeah, and then people started commenting about you. They said that you have a similar riding style to Mr. Roberts.
Oh, well, it's actually quite interesting. We're very similar as well in the way we think and the way we deal with people.
Yeah.
I've noticed that more and more. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. How's his character? What type of person is he? Because I've never dealt with him. Like only hi, hello, how are you?
Yeah. he is fantastic. He's very loyal. He'll always look after you. Even if someone has messed you, like to give you rides, he'll always look after you. Make sure you get the rides from his stable. Even if an owner's sort of questioning whether to put you on or not, he'll fight for you and help you. And as long as you hold up your end of the bargain, you're at work, you do the work, you're on time, he then repays it greatly. And
what's the most important thing he's taught you?
Yeah, the most important thing.
Yeah.
Oh my word, he's taught me so much. Probably patience in a race.
Yeah.
Because that is the most important thing. To have the confidence to sit on a horse coming around the turn when everyone else is making a move and you can feel that you've got more in the tank, to sit and wait.
Yeah.
And every now and again I'll forget that and make my move early and get beaten, and then he'll say to me, why? I've taught you this how many times? What's wrong with you? But I think that's the most important, because the times it has worked, like when I won on that filly in Joburg the other day, everyone else started making their move and I sat and waited, and they went past me, and as I pulled the trigger she just took off past everyone. So it's that timing that's one of the most important lessons.
So when do you think is the right time to make your move? I know it's different. It's for every race it's different. You know what I mean?
It depends on the distance of the race, the horse you're on.
Yeah.
But generally I try, something that Andrew Odendahl actually spoke to me, taught me like a kind of a small lesson, was as you come around the turn and you straighten up, he said count to 2. Go 1, 2 and then make your move. And it works quite well. So it just sort of depends as well. Like, I mean, on that Indigo Moon, there was no counting to 2. I made my move at the 600.
Yeah.
But I mean, usually you can come into the straight and just sit for a little bit and then go.
I see. Yo, that Indigo Moon win was incredible. You literally came from the back.
I came through the 900 and I thought, Mr. Musket is going to kill me when I get back. This horse is not going anywhere, because he said to me she sometimes pulls, so you've got to switch her off. And apparently I switched it off a little bit too much, and I was thinking, oh my god, now what? And then as I
switch off. What do you mean switch off?
They relax so they don't pull you. Because quite a few of them will go in a race and they start pulling you, and they're actually wasting energy when they do that. So you want to get them to relax.
Yes.
I every now and again will relax a horse a bit too much. And
during a race?
Yeah.
How do you relax a horse? How do you relax this beautiful beast? That just wants to run, how do you do that?
It's like, I've always thought of it soft hands. Come out and you just, if you relax your body and you don't fight with them. My dad always taught me, because he taught me show jumping, the same with the jumping. If you fight fire with fire, you're going to get more fire. So when you pull a horse, they're going to pull you. Drop your hands. Sometimes I'll just leave the reins and the horses will just relax. They don't pull you then, because they can't pull you if you're not pulling them.
And also because, like, you know how when you scared of animals, they get scared of you as well. When they can smell the fear. You know what I mean? So it's like a dog. When you're afraid of a dog, the dog can feel that you're afraid of it, and then it just acts weird, right? And horses are like
exactly the same.
So and now you being on the saddle, and on top of the horse. Your energy is very important, because the horse can feel your energy. Do you know what I mean? Because now you sort of become one with the horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you're saying, you and the horse sort of become like, you like an extended part of the body's horse, the horse's body. Do you see what I'm saying?
Avatar,
yes.
So like
exactly. So I see what you're saying. When you relax, the horse also just relaxes. It's just really, really incredible, man. It's interesting, and also speaking about Mr. Odendahl, he's a big believer of getting,
like a connection with
the horse. He always used to say that, like, I can feel the horse's soul or something like that. It's crazy, What do you think about that?
I always get blamed if it's the world of child and youth, but I really do believe in that kind of connection.
Yeah.
Because I've also seen with some horses, you just form a connection with them. Like myself and my grey filly from Mr. Roberts, Tupela Honey. We've won 3 from 3.
Yeah.
We've just got a connection. You know, sometimes I walk up to her in her stable and she'll see me. And I went to visit her, she's on a little holiday at the moment. Straight away, she'll come and put her head on me, and obviously it's because I've also got food for her, that helps a lot.
Carrots and stuff.
Yeah, you can definitely feel you form a relationship with them.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. It's very, very interesting. Now, you ride a lot of horses like every day at the training track and also during races. Do you sometimes because you ride a lot of horses and they're different. They like to be ridden differently. Do you sometimes forget how to ride certain horses? It's a question that I've been asking myself.
It's definitely not one we should answer truthfully, because yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what I do is I'll sit and watch the race replays and write in my race card so that I don't forget. But if you haven't had time, you get there and you're like, I don't even remember
this horse, right?
And like sometimes the trainer will say to me, oh yeah, you remember that horse you galloped it the other day? And I'm like, yeah, I remember. I'm like, I've never seen that horse in my life.
Yeah, I almost posted on Facebook. I almost asked people on Facebook that, do jockeys ever forget?
Yeah, and I can tell you now, I haven't done it yet, but I know of jockeys who have. You get your instructions at the parade ring, you canter down, and you go to the stop and you think, what did they tell me?
Yeah.
Did they say I must take it to the front or drop it out? And you're like completely, you just can't remember.
Yeah.
You start hoping you get it right.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy how horses are so different, and you know, they all need to be treated differently and be ridden differently. So you're telling me about how you started riding. You were work riding at 14.
Oh yeah.
So and then what happened after that? What happened after that first canter?
Yeah. So I started building it up more and more until I was getting physically stronger, because that was my biggest weakness, was that I was not very strong, and I fell off and I couldn't hold horses, and I just kept going and kept trying and kept going and going, and then I started getting stronger. And suddenly then I went from riding.
So how did you get strong? Were you gymming?
So I was doing a bit of gym, but mostly just riding. Yeah. Riding is the best fitness for riding. So they also say the same for race riding. The easiest way to get fit for racing is to race.
Yes.
So the more work I rode, the more I got used to the strength of these horses and sort of the fitter I got. So suddenly I could go from riding 2 horses a morning and being buggered to 4.
Yeah.
And then just building it up, 6 in the morning, 7. And then I started going to different trainers. And because also different trainers' horses behave differently. They're all...
Are you serious?
I've never understood it, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But there's certain trainers whose horses will behave in certain ways.
Like, make an example. What do
you
mean?
Like Robertson's horses are notorious for always being fresh.
Yeah.
And they're like super excitable, and generally every morning someone falls off.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just how his horses are. I find like Garth Puller's horses tend to be more sort of... They're not so much strong, but they take you on, and they're like a striding canter instead of like an easy canter. Whereas like I'm trying to think, Duncan House's horses, all of them, or most of them, beautiful rides. They'll put their heads down, and you just have to sort of be with them, and they enjoy their work.
Wow,
so it's quite weird, and I haven't worked it out.
It's really nice. It's interesting, actually.
Yeah, it is very interesting. So you kind of know what trainers. You can also think.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think certain horses from different stables behave a certain way?
I think it's the way they're trained. So some trainers prefer like shorter, sharper work, which makes the horses a little bit more excited, and their feeding as well. Horses are very sensitive to what they're fed. So if you feed them like a high energy food, they're going to be like super hyperactive. Whereas some trainers feed like a cool food, and their horses are cool. It just kind of depends on what they believe. And the best thing about racing is no one is ever wrong.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Everyone's methods can work in different ways.
And it's crazy how what you just said can affect like a horse's performance during a race, right?
Yes.
So like what you just said now about how Michael Roberts' horses, they behave a certain way. even on during the race,
Yes.
right?
So often if you go down on a hot horse, jocks will say to you, "Oh, is that a Robert special?" And often it's not, and you're like, "No, it's not." And they're like, "Oh wow, who's that for then?"
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So like, there's a thing now
Yeah.
going around about Mr. Robinson's horses
Yeah.
being not crazy but fresh, right?
Yeah, they're like super chuffed all the time.
Yeah, man. How's Mr. Roberts training? How's his style of training?
So it's quite an
in that.
interesting cross. It's sort of, he likes long staying kind of work, but also short sharp work. So he does like a mixture, which seems to suit the horses very nicely. So it's and he prefers to slightly underwork them instead of going too much and risk hurting the horses. So whenever we work them along, he'll never let them off the bit and make them gallop like as hard as they can. We always save just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's very good for the horses because you never hurt them and they're always then keen to do their work. They don't think like, "Oh, you're going to hurt me," they don't want to do it.
Do you think you'll ever become a trainer?
So
after
when
riding?
I started riding work, that's actually what I wanted to do. I wanted
Become
to
a
train.
trainer?
Yeah, because we always thought, "Oh, you're going to be too big." Like I wasn't done growing at 14. So I thought, there's no chance of being a jockey, I'm going to be too heavy.
Yeah.
So in the long term, it's probably not the best idea, but I want to be a trainer because I love the horses, and I think it gives you a great insight having raced them to understand the little quirks about training.
How crazy is it that one of the best trainers, some of the best trainers in the world, have never ridden horses before?
Yeah.
Like Mike DeCock's story is how, I'm not sure. Like I don't have the full details and facts about, but I heard that he wasn't even ever involved in racing or horse or in the industry before he became a trainer, and then he got introduced into it. I don't know. You might be able to tell the story better than you.
I don't even know. It's
right, but something along those lines. You know, he had never been in the industry, and then he got introduced into the industry, and then he became one of the best trainers in the country. How crazy is it that like some trainers have never ridden horses and trained so well?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've always wondered about that as well.
It's really, really dope. It's really dope. Anyway, so you were telling us about how it ended up. You know, you ended up becoming stronger, and you were practicing 6 horses a morning, 8 horses, and then it became 10.
Yeah, so then I started moving around to different trainers and then riding like a full morning until eventually I took out my work rider's license and became a registered work rider, as well as a stable employee, which is the step below an assistant trainer. Because I wanted to keep all doors open because I started thinking about applying to the academy. But then I thought, let me just get my days in to become an assistant, because when I finish school, maybe that's what I'm going to have to do.
Yes.
Because I knew I was staying in racing. That was like the be all and end all. Whether I was training, racing, whatever was happening, I love racing. It was like the bug bit me, and that was that.
Yeah.
So I worked for Wendy Whitehead as her stable employee as well. So I came to races with her, helped saddle, did this yard when she wasn't there. If she went away, I would look after the horses. So it was really awesome. And Wendy also taught me so much. She is a proper horsewoman. The things she's taught me about training and understanding horses is incredible. So that really gave me an even better insight into racing, because it's so much easier to race ride, understanding what the horses are going through at home, what medicines they've been taking and how it makes them react and stuff like that. So I did that, and then I applied to the academy I think I was in grade 10 or 11. I must have been about 17, 18. And
how old are you now?
I'm 20.
Okay.
Yeah, so I turned 21 in April.
Yeah.
So nearly there.
yeah. So you what year were you born?
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
My brother was also born in 2001.
You probably look at us like we're proper lighties.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I turn around every now and again, and my friends who are 20, 21 are like in serious relationships and thinking about families and stuff, and I'm like,
what?
You guys are, well, not like proper families, but like my best friend's got like a long-term boyfriend, and they like live together, and I look at them and I'm like, but we're so young. And I say, well, we are 20 and like kind of have jobs and stuff. And I'm like, nah, I'm still a kid, leave me alone.
Yeah, that's really crazy. What do you think about that? Like, what's your sort of idea or what do you think about getting into relationships and staying together, and you know?
Yes, as for me, it's like I don't think anyone can put up with me.
Yeah.
Even my mom is like, I don't think you're ever going to get married because I'm not the easiest person to live with. And it's also like with racing. I mean, if you look at my week coming up, I race today, I race Monday, I'm going to Joburg on Thursday, Joburg Saturday, racing Sunday, Monday. When would I ever get to see whoever I'm going up with? Like, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even with myself, like I work so much, you know, like I'm always at the office, like 16 hours every day, you know, in the office at like 8 and I leave here at 10. And if I don't do that, then, you know, things won't get to happen, you know, because with social media as well, you know,
it never sleeps.
It's never sleeps. It's an everyday thing, and racing happens on weekends as well. You know what I mean?
And you're up at 4 and you get back from work at 10 and you're tired, so you go to bed. And
and it's the sacrifices we have to make, you know, to be the best.
It's completely worth it though.
It is,
I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. Who do you look up to?
Jockey-wise, I'm assuming.
In general.
In general.
Yeah.
Well, Stewie Randolph has always been like the person I've admired the most.
Why?
He's got away with horses, and also he taught me quite a lot. We used to ride a lot of work together. He worked as Wendy's stable jockey, so we used to ride a lot of work together. And his sort of method of going through life was very methodical, thoughtful, and moral as well.
He's a very nice guy.
He's such a nice person. Yes, so I mean, he also showed me like you can do a lot of things in your life.
What else does he do except for riding?
He liked flying and very like a handyman. So he was forever telling me about fixing his bathroom and doing the tiles here, and I was at the build it and things like that. So he's also very hands-on doing things.
Yeah. Okay, so is that the only person that you sort of idolize?
I idolize quite a few people, like Lyle Hudson.
Yeah, wow.
How can you not idolize Lyle Hudson?
Yeah.
He came sort of the same route as me, which is quite nice. Through the work riders, for Kittens Academy, and he's just so humble and so focused on what he's got to do, and I mean insanely successful.
Yeah.
So he's also hardworking. He never stops.
He works very, very hard, and his branding is good. He's branded himself in a very, very clean way. I like it. You know what I mean? The way he carries himself, the way he speaks, the way you know, his social media as well. He's got a good branding. It's very, very good. And then outside of racing, who do you idolize?
Unfortunately, I don't have much of a life outside of racing. So it's hard to say, but I mean, Usain Bolt has always been such an inspirational person for me. His quotes, and he's got things that say, you know, you'll never stop me. I will be the best, and the more you hate me, the better I'll be. Which I've always sort of connected with quite a lot, because I've also found I get quite a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of people don't like me and will be quite nasty and actually go out their way to try and stop me.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I turn around and say, well, you try, keep trying, because the more you hate me and the nastier you are, the harder I'm going to work to be better and prove that you're wrong.
Yeah, like what do they do?
You get quite a lot of people who they'll just say nasty things.
Yeah.
And then try, and I've had people try and scale rides from me and do things like a trainer's looking for my phone number so they can ask me for a ride. Yeah. And the oak will say, no, I'm not giving it to you. Okay. Or they'll give you the number but the wrong one, and then say, oh, well, she didn't answer. Give me the ride. Or they'll also spread rumours. There's plenty rumours in racing. And there's plenty about me. Yeah. And if you come to me and you say, listen, I heard this about you, I'll tell you the truth. If it's correct, I'll say, yeah, no, it's embarrassing, but yeah, it's true. Yeah. Or I'll say to you that it's definitely not true. I'm always honest, and I appreciate honesty. And there's a lot of people who start rumours and no one ever comes to you and asks, is it really true? Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Well, I haven't heard anything. Oh, well, that's good. Keep it that way. Yeah, no, it's quite cool, you know, just listening to you talk and it's nice, you know, you're this athlete and you got people trying to sabotage you, and it's just gonna make you even better. You know? So where do you get like your source of motivation? Pretty much that feeling when you cross the line in front in a race is what you strive for every day. And I'm just motivated because I really, really love it. And you know, in the mornings as well, you'll go and you I'm so tired.
Mm.
Or my legs are sore because I've been racing so much.
Mm.
And you'll get on a horse that you really like, and there's certain horses that they're like your children. You have adopted them. And you'll ride it and you just think, this is the reason I do this. I'm getting paid to ride horses, and I mean, that's the best thing ever. Every day I come here to ride and race. It's something, probably shouldn't say this because I like getting paid, but I do it for free because it's so much fun and you really, really love it. And it's like an added bonus that you can earn a living off it.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah, you can become a millionaire from riding horses. So do you not like read books, watch YouTube videos and stuff like that? For
like motivation?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, obviously I've read the motivational books.
Like which ones?
The one that I find motivation in things like the books The Alchemist.
Oh, The Alchemist.
Have you read The Alchemist?
I haven't.
Oh my god, you have to read that book.
Really? Yeah.
Oh no, that book changed my entire life.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like a fable. It's quite short. I've read it 5 times.
Jeez.
And it's like mind blowing.
What's mind blowing about it? What does
it's all analogies about going through life and having faith in your life. Because you often, you'll doubt yourself whether you're on the right path, whether you're doing the right things. And the whole book is about someone going on a journey to find treasure. And obviously the treasure is symbolic for your successes in life. So it's his journeys, and it's quite perilous. Like he ends up trapped in a desert, and people also trying to sabotage him, and you just keep going and have faith, and eventually he reaches the treasure. So that was like a very bad summary of the book. You've got to read it.
Jeez, I heard I've heard a lot of people that actually talk about The Alchemist, and they suggest it. Even Will Smith suggests that he loves that book. He says it also changed his life. And then what other books have you read?
I've read a lot of books. I like crime novels
and
horrors and stuff like that. So I'm more into fictional reading. I've read a couple of biographies that have been quite impressive, but I'm more a fictional reader. I do it more for fun. Are
you reading something now?
At the moment, I'm reading a book called The Only Child.
Okay.
About a psychopath person. It's actually quite interesting. It's also a crime novel, and there's been a murder and they're investigating it. And it's kind of how psychopaths sort of develop, and were they born like that or do they become like that. So it's, in a fictional story, it's that kind of investigation.
And then now in this book here, what's the verdict? Is this guy, was he born with it, or is he?
I don't know. I've only read like a quarter of it.
But you get the time to read all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm only a quarter of the way through. I'm also a very slow reader.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, so it's always been a bit of a struggle. Like, I'm fine.
Are you? Did a doctor tell you that you're dyslexic?
No, we didn't want to. Like, my teachers at school said to me, "We're quite sure that you are, but we don't. It's not like bad enough that I can't read or anything."
Yeah.
And my parents were saying, if you get diagnosed, you're going to use it as an excuse forever, and stand and go, "Oh, I'm dyslexic, I can't do it." So we just went along, and I just worked harder to make sure that I'm careful when I write. And so my spelling's pretty horrific. That's why I like autocorrect. I always email instead of like handwrite. But it also takes me a little bit of time to read then, because every now and again I'll get a word wrong. Because what I've always tried to do, because I've taught myself to just sort of guess the word. Like, I can see more or less what it says.
Yes.
So I'll put a word in and I'll read a sentence and be like, that makes no sense. Read it again and I'm like, it still makes no sense, and go back and look at the word and I'm like, that's not the word I thought it was. Okay. And then I get it. So
because sometimes you read a word you don't know in a sentence, and but you sort of have an idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, of what it could mean, and you just carry on. You know what I mean? You just carry on reading and all of that. One of my, I don't know if I have this book yet. Oh, there it is. One of my biggest idols.
Branson,
I love this guy, man. I love this guy. He's amazing. He was also, how do you say the word?
Dyslexic.
Dyslexic. How long do we have with you, Rachel?
I'm just checking now. We've still got another 10-15 minutes.
10-15 minutes. Okay,
yeah.
We'll wrap up in 15 minutes at 1 o'clock. So yeah, this guy here, he's a billionaire now. He's
Virgin Airlines.
Yes. He just. I read this book. I finished it, and one of the first few books that I read. And funny thing is that with me, I used to read only when I had exams.
Anything to avoid studying.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of studying, you know, I'd put my phone away and everything, and then I'd start studying, and then I'd get bored, and I would take, let me just read this book. You know, I wouldn't read if I was like, you know, just not doing anything and not writing exams. I'd just carry on doing other things, watching YouTube movies and all that stuff, and look at books. And I'm like, that's boring. I'm not doing that. And then I think the first book I read was this one here.
Oh, Mike Tyson.
This one here. This book. This book here. Mike Tyson's Undisputed Truth autobiography. It was amazing, bro. Amazing.
I've actually got the book. I need to read it.
Are you serious?
In my bookshelf, yeah.
It's amazing.
Because I keep a little bookshelf of everything I want to read at the academy, and then I start and I work through it. It's
amazing. It was just a fascinating experience reading this book because, it's like, you know, the stories that he was telling of him, you know, growing up and Costa Amato, and you know, the drugs and the women and
No spoilers.
I want to read it now.
Okay, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but yeah, it's the first book that I read, and after that I was writing exams as well. I was writing my matric exams, and I finished the book. Crazy.
Yeah, I suddenly became a chef during my matric exams.
You suddenly became a chef?
Yeah, because I'm a terrible cook, but anything to avoid studying. I was like, let me make dinner for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, you're writing an exam tomorrow, don't you say, no, I've studied already. You know, I haven't studied. But
yeah. Can you cook though? How good is your cooking?
So I'll tell you a story. I had a sick horse at home,
and
I thought, I'll get a pizza, one of those frozen ones, and I'll have that for supper, because I had to keep checking on it. Put the pizza in the oven, sitting watching TV. So it smelled. I'm sitting there for another 5 minutes. Next thing, like, I can't really see the TV screen. There's like smoke, and I'm like, the pizza. Go in. The pizza was on fire in the oven.
Jesus.
So I don't know if that describes my cooking. There we go.
Yo, that's crazy.
I make top scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
That's about it. Even those aren't good. I made scrambled eggs the other day for my parents, and they were like, "Why is there like bits of white and bits of yellow?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean?" They said you're supposed to like whip it or whatever. I don't know what you call it when you like swirl it around.
Yeah.
And I was like, but why?
Yeah.
It still tastes good.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It tastes terrible.
Yeah. You know, funny thing is that I also, so I've got a weird way of making eggs sometimes. Sometimes what I do is like I just break the egg, put it in the pan, you know, hot pan and everything, and then I'll scramble it right there, and it tastes good.
I'm happy like that.
You know
I think
what
it tastes nice.
You know, and then this other time, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was my dad. Yeah, my dad, I was at his house, and I'm making eggs, and he's like, what's that? He's like, you're not supposed to make eggs like that, you know? And with him, cooking is a very big deal because he used to be a chef, and he's an amazing cook. Amazing. Like, my stepmom literally had to go and get cooking lessons just so that she could, you know, retain her mom status. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy, man.
No, I come with all sorts of funny inventions, you know, like take a tomato and you take the insides out and you crack an egg and put it in there and put some cheese on top and bake it.
What?
It tastes damn nice, but my whole family were like, please never God cook that ever again.
So you take a tomato?
Yeah, you take out the seeds and whatever's inside, the juices, clean it, crack an egg, and put like the whole egg in. With some cheese and salt on top. And then stick it in the oven. Do you know how nice that is?
Are you serious?
It like cooks. Yeah.
How the hell did you come up with that?
I don't know, somewhere on Facebook I saw something similar and I was like, oh, that looks fun, let's try.
Yeah. Jesus, man. I don't know if I'll ever try that.
Yeah, no, I come up with funny things, eh?
What's your favorite meal?
Oh, I love pasta.
I also love pasta.
Lasagna, spaghetti bolognese, oh god, and I can't even eat it because it's like carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So every now and again I'll be like, no light rights, I'll have a little bit of pasta.
Yeah.
Like macaroni cheese, that's my all-time like comfort food. If I've had like a really terrible day, I'll have macaroni cheese. I feel so much better. Instead
of grabbing us, you know, some other woman grab ice cream.
Yeah.
Right? A tub of ice cream and then just start chowing there.
Done that one.
I enjoy pastas. I enjoy cooking pastas as well.
It's much easier.
It is much.
That's one thing I can freely cook.
I think that's my best dish. That's what I always tell people that my best like dish is a nice bowl of macaroni and mince. You know what I mean?
Love it.
So
and I did work out how to make macaroni cheese in the microwave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the best invention ever.
Okay, Rachel, it's been an amazing experience. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And blessing us with your presence and sharing your amazing stories. I think there's more stories that you can share.
I'm endless. Everyone says I'm like I've got no end to how long I can talk for.
Yeah, that's actually good. That's good. So that means I will definitely have you on the show again.
Yeah, please. That would be marvelous. Sure. Thank you.